HIMS and Palantir might have a lot more in common than what you think. And no, HIMS did not start selling military AI software. That's Palantir. But the setup around HIMS right now looks a lot like early retail cult plus hated stock plus comeback story Palantir. The stock is sitting as one of the most shorted stocks in the entire market. Good news, heavy shorts, bad sentiment. That's where turning points can begin to really happen. In this video today, I'm going to break down why this acquisition this week really matters. And then we're going to take a look at the short interest, the psychology behind the retail cult stocks, what we've seen in the past with Palantir, what we're seeing right now, and why this moment is reminding a lot of investors of Palantir during its darkest period.
Welcome to the game, it's the Eastern Stars by Mikhail Kuhar.
If you don't know who I am, my name is Mikhail, and one of my highest values in life is freedom. That's why I've partnered with X10 over the last 4 years to develop a day trading software that allows you to get 8 to 15% return every single month. This is something we've developed over the last 4 years to allow pro traders to trade through your Interactive Brokers account. Great thing is you never have to send us any money. All your trades stay in your account. We just send the buy and sell signals directly to you. For me, I'm not in US time zone, so this is amazing. This allows me to day trade every single day, even though my time zone is completely different. I'm a big believer that you should have 80% in the long term and 20% in short term trades. This allows me to do that very, very effortlessly. It does take a little bit of effort. I've got to fire up the computer every single day and make sure the software is running. Outside of that, you set it and forget it and just check in every single day. These are the results we've been looking at in February, and these are the results in January. And this is something we've developed over 4 years with over $1 million invested to it. So if you want to find out more about that, you can click the link below and you can check out all of these testimonials. We have hundreds and hundreds, but beside the point, if you really want to find out more, you want to see the ins and outs of how it works and all the results we've been getting for clients over the years, just book a call below. I'll walk you through the entire process. We can start it up and get you trading within the day. So let's get stuck into the video. Let's kick off with the news. HIMS and HERS announced it will acquire Eucalyptus in a deal worth $1.15 billion. So that will pay about $240 million in cash at closing. The rest is deferred over about 18 months with performance earnouts through early 2029. So the deal is expected to close around mid-2026, assuming approvals go through. So why does this really matter? Well, because Eucalyptus already operates in Australia, the UK, Germany, and newly operates in Japan and Canada. They've served over 700,000 customers and they've facilitated almost 2 million consults. So HIMS says Eucalyptus has an annual revenue run rate north of 450 million. So that is an international growth engine. So let's talk about the other side of this setup. Let's talk about the short interest. As of January 30th, 2026, exchange report data shows around 76 million shares sold short. That's around 40% of the public float. And on most shorted screens, HIMS shows up in the top bucket, so around the top 10. The exact rank can move, but the point is very clear. This is a crowded short trade. So let me explain why a lot of investors are saying this could be the next Palantir. So Palantir builds software for governments and enterprises. HIMS is a consumer healthcare, completely different areas they're in, right? But the comparison is not about that. The comparison is about the pattern. And Palantir in 2021 and 2022 went from hot growth story to absolute punching bag. You know, it felt like everyone wanted to put out a hate piece or a headline around this. Rates went up, growth stocks got crunched. And Palantir fell from mid $20 range in 2021 down into single digits by late 2022. So even printing lows around the $6 area, it felt dead. People mocked holders and shorts were very, very confident. And this is a time where the foundation of the cult was really built. People rallied together knowing this is something they're going to hold on to. And then they started to feel different. They started to feel early, and then they knew their patience was going to pay off. Now, if we look at HIMS in 2026, the headline environment is messy. We can't argue that. There has been regulatory pressure in the US around compounded GLP-1 medications and related legal noise, and sentiment has been really negative. Now, with the short interest exploded to around 41% of float, that's not normal. That's crowding. And then today, management drops a global expansion deal. This is why the acquisition can be a real turning point for HIMS themselves. The bear story is saying that HIMS is trapped in this US regulatory drama. But this week's deal says we're expanding internationally with an operator that already has customers at scale. They already are established in markets like Australia, my home country, Japan, UK, Germany, Canada. Like, these are real markets, these are real audiences, and this is real revenue. Not only that, they have some of the key pieces already in their spaces. They know how regulations work in these countries. They already have things approved and they have a cycle moving. They're not starting fresh from the ground up. So when a hated stock releases a headline like that, shorts have to really rethink their thesis. And if we look at market psychology, retail cult stocks form around stories people really understand. Like Palantir had the secret software powering everything story. And a lot of people bought into that. HIMS has a simple consumer health story, and people really understand it. They use it, they talk about it, they have high retention rates, and that makes it easy to form a community around it. And when that community goes through pain together, it really bonds. And then you add a heavy short interest to that mix, you have fuel. So short sellers borrow shares and sell them. If price rises, they lose money. And if it rises fast, some of them buy shares to close the position. Now that buying pushes price higher, and that can pressure more shorts. Days to cover stand right now at about 4.4. So that means it would take more than 4 full days of normal volume for shorts to exit completely. If volume spikes on a catalyst, moves can really accelerate. And if we look at the numbers, if the stock is around $15.80 and sentiment flips from hate to comeback, here's what a simple multiple looks like. Like 2 times 15 is going to be 30, 3 times 15 is going to be 45, 4 times 15 is going to be 60, 5 times 75. So these are scenarios, not guarantees. But the only way that kind of move happens long-term is if the business executes. Palantir did not rebound because people hoped. It rebounded because revenue grew and the company proved it could scale. It wasn't built from headlines, it was built from execution. For HIMS, that means international expansion has to work. Consumer growth must continue and margins must stay healthy throughout the process. The company must show it can handle regulatory pressure without breaking, and today's deal really helps on that first step. It gives them an international footprint faster, and it gives a very strong hope sentiment in the market for people looking at the potential of this expansion. When a stock is heavily shorted, bad news is often already priced in. Like, you get more bad news, it doesn't really flip the sentiment, it just keeps it trending in that way. But good news can have more of an impact because it really surprises the current positioning. And that's why this headline feels different. Up to $1.15 billion, right, in structured payments, global expansion. That is not a small update. These are some big numbers. And if there's one thing you take away from this video, and if you've stayed to the end, take this away. When a stock is one of the most shorted in the market, good news does not just help. It can really trap the shorts. So for you, think about it like this. Do you think HIMS becomes a Palantir-style cult comeback? Or do you think the headline risk keeps staying stuck? Do you think they cannot break out of this sentiment of the headline they're producing? As always, stay tuned. I'm going to be bringing you videos every single day discussing HIMS, the sentiment in the market, and what this looks like going forward. So if it's something you're looking to get invested in, if you're already invested in, subscribe down below. And always, if you want to book in a call, x10daytrade.com, I can walk you through the entire process where we can start day trading today for you and start getting you anywhere from 8 to 15% returns. I look forward to seeing you on a call soon, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow.